I have a couple Real Madrid things I wanted to hit you with. Not
All right.
necessarily related to Celta Vigo, but more of like big picture things. So there's a couple things. I mean, today the biggest two things really are Kubo looks like he's going to Getafe. And
Getafe,
yeah, and that's one interesting thing. A lot of Alaba noise today too, but let's just save that for if and when it actually happens.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I have some thoughts on that, but I just maybe a little bit premature to talk about it now.
I think so.
Kubo,
more interested in Kubo, to be honest.
What's that?
That I'm more interested on the Kubo, him obviously leaving Emery and Villarreal, which I thought was going to be a match made in heaven. I've been stunned by this entire process and progress or lack thereof, I should say. And him leaving for a team like Getafe, which I think, Villarreal will be much better suited for him, his style of football.
Yeah, so similar sentiment. So maybe to just do a quick timeline of this whole Kubo to Villarreal thing and how it happened and what was going to happen and what happened throughout the whole thing, what went wrong. So Emery, before this whole loan thing became official, was very high on Kubo, spoke very highly about him, reportedly pushed for Kubo to get loaned there. Kubo arrives, and like his stint in Mallorca, he did not become a starter right away, nor did he play right away. With Mallorca, it literally took half a season. He was taking advantage of these like 5-10 minute cameos, and it was clear in those 5-10 minutes he was like their best offensive player. So eventually he just became an undisputed starter, rightfully so, because he was a great creator, great dribbler, and a source of offense. With Villarreal, I thought, and many of us thought, that this would eventually happen for him. Like eventually he would work his way into the team because it's cool. This is how it works. Loan spells don't always start. Our new signings don't always start with the bank. Sometimes it just takes time, understandably. And obviously it's Villarreal. So like when you picture Villarreal, you picture fast, free-flowing football, right? Like quick counterattacks, all that. Like that, perfect. Put him on the right. Yeah. Let's see this thing work. So I think a few things worked against him here. And in no particular order. One was that, when we talk about Villarreal strikers, then, not now, just describing the situation then, we're talking about Paco Alcácer and Gerard Moreno, who, you want to try to play both of them if you can, because they can both score and Moreno can do even more than that. And so Emery was doing this thing where he'd go Alcácer in the middle, Moreno on the right, where Kubo could have been playing. And the other variable in this was Samu Chukwueze, who, in a similar position as
really
Kubo,
good,
right, and a really good young player, and in a vacuum, basically the same type of player, mazy winger who can create, who can dribble, who can shoot, and
very well.
Yeah, and so one of the things that happened was that happened. So, and then it was Samu who was coming off the bench over Kubo for a while. Now, what was interesting is that whether it was Samu or Kubo who come on, it didn't seem like Emery liked either Samu or Kubo, in the sense that Emery wants to have his players defend, and he's very like we need to make sure we don't concede goals, and neither Samu or Kubo were good defensive players. Like Kubo has a long way to go to kind of sharpen his skill set, and just tracking Kubo all this time this season. A few things I noticed, these are the commonalities, and this kind of goes back to his Mallorca days. So when his initial touch on the ball is beautiful. Like he can turn in and out of space. Like if the ball is coming, like a vertical pass is coming to him, and there's a defender on his back, you'd put your money on Kubo getting out of that situation really beautifully, and he just turns his defender, gets into space. From that moment, his final ball is lacking. He doesn't make the right pass, and if he does, he underhits it, he overhits it, or he just gives it away. So that part of it is lacking a little bit. The other two things, one is if he's being pressured deep, he gets a little bit uncomfortable, he loses the ball. And the third thing is that he doesn't really know where to be defensively. So the third one in particular is something that Emery really emphasizes. Just make sure we don't concede goals. So and Samu wasn't doing much better this season. So sometimes Kubo would be the preferred option. Sometimes it would be Samu. Sometimes and oftentimes it would be neither. Now with Paco Alcácer being kind of unreliable just with injuries and stuff, and you never really know if he's going to be healthy or not, and all that stuff. Part of me thought, as unfortunate as that was for Alcacer, part of me thought that, well, this could be good for Kubo, right? So, his muscle injury in December. Yeah, I mean, he had tendon problems in November, but also a big muscle injury since December 7th, which he's still out for. And I thought, well, this could work because Moreno could go centrally, and you can put Kubo on the right, but. Fernandinho has been a revelation in a lot of ways for Villarreal.
Yeah.
And he just scored on the weekend
in the making as well.
In the making, yeah. So now
we saw already last year.
Yeah, and so now he's being groomed into that role with Moreno on the right. So it's an unfortunate thing.
Which makes sense as well, because they know that Kubo can be checked out after this season. This is a long-term project as well, where a player like Fernandinho, he'll be around for the ride, whereas Kubo, who knows where he would have been. So I get that decision-making as well. But you explained it very detailed and very clearly.
Yeah, and all of that, look, that's why these 2-year loan spells have always... it seems like have worked better than 1-year loan spells, because the club feels just a little bit more invested because it's a 2-year thing rather than a 1-year thing where we're going to, we groom someone's player and then say bye to them. But I do think now it's interesting because of all places, Getafe, very defensive minded.
Talk about his defensive frailty.
Yeah. And we're talking about like a very defensive minded team, and who was on that wing? Neom, and he, Now here's I think, because all signs point to this not working at Getafe because of the way they play, and it's not like they have a free spot there regardless, right? So and by the way, maybe I guess it's maybe a disservice to say Kubo is only a right winger, right? We've seen him play centrally at times, we've seen him play on the left. I mean, Cucurella has the left spot on lockdown because look, Cucurella and Neom, they play on the wings, they don't even play on their wing back. So you have Damian Suarez, Neom, and then Oliveira and Cucurella on the other side. So if you're where are you gonna play him? If you're not gonna play him on the wing, are you gonna displace Jaime Mata as a striker? I don't know if I see that. Cucho Hernandez, I don't know if I see that. So regardless, I guess here's where it could work.
They need goals, but
that's the thing. These guys, Getafe, are free falling. So I don't know if Bordalas is looking at in that Kubo situation and be like, well, he can't help us because he doesn't defend, he doesn't do this. Like, his team literally can't do anything right now. They can't. So maybe they just need to shift some pieces and bring in an attacking weapon. Maybe they need that. So that's where I would go against the grain a little bit. And while everyone's saying this can't work, that's where it could work. It's like you're joining a team who desperately needs some offense and some attacking something. So maybe he can help. And who's
they need a Bryan Gil.
They need a Bryan Gil. Yeah, everyone needs a Bryan Gil. But maybe Bordalas can also help Kubo improve. I mean, that's one thing I think Real Madrid fans haven't really grappled with properly yet. That maybe that this actually can be a good thing. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Maybe it's even worse. Yeah. But if it goes right, it's because I think Bordalas can teach him new things, and it's in a team that is a really good team. But just this year they've been so bad, they need help.